Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Not sure if it's the morning or the afternoon, wherever you are, but either way, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to be here with you today as well. Today, we're going to be talking about the 15 marketing mistakes that you're probably making in your small business and how to avoid them. Before we get started here, just a couple housekeeping items. Can you hear me? Please let me know in the comments. If for some reason you can't hear me, you might have to click a mute button that you might find over my photo or over my initials, depending on what kind of device you're on. So please let us know in the comments. And speaking of the comments, Francesca, our marketing assistant, is going to be answering your questions throughout this webinar. So please do comment below. That comment box might be below, it might be to the side, again, depending on what kind of device you are on. There will be a recording, so don't worry if for some reason you do miss something. You will have a chance to watch again, and we'll make sure that you don't miss too much. But please do stick around if you can, because we have some great bonuses that we're going to be talking about just at the end. On the agenda today, there's a number of things we're going to be talking about. First, a couple brief introductions, learn a little bit about me, who I am, who BizIQ is, and then we'll talk about you. Who is this training for? Who do we feel is most going to benefit from everything that we're talking about today? And then, of course, we'll be diving into what you're here for, the 15 marketing mistakes that we want to learn about and learn how to avoid. We'll also discuss the 5 pillars of great local marketing. These are the 5 things that we at BizIQ really feel make up a great local marketing campaign. And each one of our 15 marketing mistakes fits into one of those 5 pillars in one way or another. We're also going to have some bonuses and freebies, as I mentioned, so stick around until the end. We have some great opportunities for you, as well as some really actionable resources that you can start using today to make an impact in your business's marketing right off the bat. So a little bit about me. My name is Lexi St. Laurent, as I mentioned. I am the Director of Marketing here at BizIQ. I would be happy for you to reach out to me via email. That's my email right there, Lexi, Lexi, at biziq.com. You can also reach me on Twitter at LexiMSTL. I have been in digital marketing for more than a decade. It's hard to believe. And I've been overseeing the marketing efforts of hundreds of small businesses in that time, as well as several multi-million-dollar companies. I have worked with BizIQ clients for several years before taking on the marketing for BizIQ itself almost 3 years ago. I'm also a self-proclaimed marketing geek and entrepreneurial spirit. I love all things marketing, and as my husband and kids will tell you, I spend my spare time reading about marketing things and talking about marketing things and about how great the internet is for small businesses. Probably because I grew up in and around small businesses. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs and small business owners, so I really did grow up around small businesses and the people who make them tick and the people who run them. So they mean a lot to me, and I am really delighted to be working at a marketing agency that basically exists just for small businesses. It's a really special place for me to be. So that's a little bit about me. On to BizIQ. We are the highest rated small business marketing company in the United States. We have more great Google reviews than any other small business marketing agency out there, and we are very, very proud of that fact. These are reviews and testimonials from our thousands of customers that trust us each month to run their marketing campaigns. We're also a small business ourselves, although we're a very quickly growing small business. In fact, we've actually been on the Inc. 5000 list for 3 years in a row. That is the list published by Inc. magazine of the fastest growing privately held companies in the United States. We're very proud of the fact that we've been on that prestigious list for 3 years in a row. We're also a Google featured partner. Lots of companies out there are Google partners and lots of individual marketers as well, but we are a Google featured partner. There are only 60 some odd companies in the entire world with that distinction. And that's really important because it means that Google has deemed us worthy to have access to a half dozen Google engineers and account managers. It really gives us the ability to be extra efficient in how we manage our local marketing campaigns for our small business clients. But please do, research us a little bit, do a quick Google search, take a look at some of those great Google reviews. We also have some great reviews over on our Better Business Bureau listing, so check that out. But long story short, our mission statement is to create the most effective, affordable local marketing solution for small businesses to dominate their local area. We feel we do a pretty good job of it, and I think our customers agree as well. So let's talk a little bit about who this training is for. This training is specifically for small business owners, marketing managers, if you're responsible for the marketing of the company that you work for, no matter what your actual title is. If you're managing that marketing, you are the marketing manager. Could also be for general managers. Again, whoever is responsible for the marketing and growth of the organization you're with. That includes business directors, other managers, partners. Really, it's for anyone who doesn't want to continue making costly marketing mistakes in their business or the business they're responsible for. So that could pretty much be just about everyone. I think that everyone can get a little bit from this training and really leave with some actionable advice and a nice game plan for how to make sure that their organization's marketing is on track. So, the sad reality is you are making at least 5 of these mistakes that we're talking about today. At BizIQ, we have worked with thousands of small businesses, small and medium sized businesses, and all of them, at one point or another, were making at least 5 of these mistakes. You don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. And that's why we're offering this training so that you don't have to continue making those mistakes, that you can be in the know about the things that really drive your marketing and the way to do it right. Some of these are not so obvious, some of these might be a little bit obvious. It all depends on where you are in your own journey in learning about marketing and learning how to make decisions about your marketing in your small business. The other thing is that the best practices in this industry are always changing. It's really important to, keep yourself up to date and keep educating yourself on what it is that Google expects, what customers are looking for, how are people actually using the internet, and how are people engaging with your business. If you don't continually update yourself and educate yourself on these things that change so frequently, you really don't know where to invest your marketing budget and you don't know which path to follow. So that's what we're going to help you with today. Before we do that, I would like to ask a couple questions here. Let's see if we can answer these questions easily. Question one. How many of your current customers came from your web presence? How many came from social media, Google search, paid ads? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think on that, a couple seconds to think on that. But again, can you answer these questions easily? What do you think? All right, question two. How do you make decisions on where to allocate your marketing budget? How do you assess changes to your strategy? Is this something you already have a plan in place for? Do you know how you're going to approach that at the end of this quarter or the end of the year? What kinds of metrics are you looking at to make those decisions? And question three, who in your organization is responsible for marketing? It could be you, and that would be that would be a very easy answer. But if it's not you, if it's a marketing manager, a marketing director, or even the person who answers the phones or the general manager, who is that person that is responsible for your marketing efforts? Do you know what they're doing on a day-to-day basis? Do you know why they're doing what they're doing? Is it working? Do they know what they're doing? Do they know why they're doing what they're doing, or are they just taking orders? These are all questions that hopefully today we can help you answer. But they're also questions that you just need to be thinking about on an ongoing basis as we go through this training and in life and in the management of your business. These are all things that we feel like are the foundation for having a good marketing strategy and really getting a good understanding of what's going on in your organization. So let's kick it off with number 15 of the top 15 marketing mistakes. This one might be a little bit obvious, but maybe not as obvious as you'd think. Mistake number 15 is not having a website. Nearly half of all small businesses in the United States do not have a website. Triple exclamation point. I was actually really shocked when I saw this statistic. Um, to me, that just seems crazy. How can half of all small businesses in the USA not have a website? But there are some reasons, as there always are, and some of those reasons include small businesses not believing that it's necessary specifically for small local businesses. They don't know how to build one. That's understandable. It's not all that easy. There's a lot that goes into it, so I can get that reason for sure. And they think it's too expensive. This is a very, very common misconception that we hear a lot. Here's a nice screenshot of a website, new image by Hillary. This is a client that we have. And it's important to recognize that websites are your online storefront. And here's a statistic for you. Judgments on a company's credibility are 75% based on their website design. And according to data from Bright Local, 90%, 97% of consumers search for local businesses online. So that means people are online, they're searching for businesses online, and they're using your website as a way to make a judgment about your company's credibility. It is, needless to say, extremely important to have a small business website. It doesn't matter if you are a brick and mortar business, if you are a service area business, a plumber or a locksmith, or somebody that's providing a service to a particular geographic area. Unless you have that website, you do not have a storefront online. And you're really missing out because, again, 97% of consumers are searching for local businesses specifically online. Now, there are some other website related mistakes that I'd like to include in this list here. Number 14 of the top 15 marketing mistakes is poor user experience, poor UX. This can include things like mobile responsiveness. Is your website visible on mobile devices and tablets? Does it contain the same content and is it just as robust as your desktop version? The majority of people these days are actually browsing the internet on their mobile phones or tablets. But for some reason, websites still tend to be designed for desktop computers. And the reality is that we're spending all of this time and money and effort into building a beautiful website that just looks gorgeous on a desktop computer, but just looks awful on a mobile phone. Maybe it's missing features. Maybe it's missing content. And beyond just having this be something that provides a poor experience for your users, for the people who are visiting your website, it's also a major issue for Google because the mobile responsiveness of a website is actually a ranking factor with Google. It determines whether or not your business is able to rank as well as it could in Google search results. And that is huge because, as we know, Google search results are the ways that people are actually finding our businesses. So this is a big, big deal. Google expects your website to be mobile responsive. And beyond that, it expects it to be just as robust on mobile as it would be on a desktop. A couple other things that impact the user experience on your website: slow load times. We only have a couple seconds before people navigate away from a website. So if your website is lagging and it's taking a really long time to load, whether it's on desktop or mobile, that's a major no-no. We do not want that. Confusing design, things, we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a little bit, but design that doesn't provide clear navigation or uses a lot of bells and whistles. It might seem really, really cool to have, a bunch of things flashing on the screen and whatnot, but we have to remember that the goal of a website is to provide visitors with a clear path to conversion, a clear path for them to follow to take the desired action that we want them to take on that website, whether that's filling out a form or picking up the phone and calling you. The entire purpose of that website's design is to direct people to that particular action. So anything that takes away from it is superfluous, and we don't want it on a website. Same goes for distracting fonts and images. We see this a lot. Everyone loves fun fonts and things like that, but there are certain fonts out there that just won't display well on different devices and really do cause your content to be hard to read or to be just distracting. And then likewise, there's certain fonts that are just accepted as being very easy to read and easy to comprehend. And again, we don't want to distract from the goal of the website. We want to drive people towards a certain action. So making sure that we use fonts and images that are not distracting, but actually add to the experience in a positive way is really important. And above all, beyond just having this be a user experience issue, all of these things impact site engagement metrics. How long someone's spending on your how long someone's spending on your website. Are they leaving the website right away? And even beyond that, those site engagement metrics are a signal to Google as to how well received your website is. So again, this all comes down to pleasing both the visitors to your website, but also pleasing Google. And next up, we have no accessibility. This is actually a very, very common problem. Many people just don't realize that accessibility requirements, ADA requirements, extend to your website. ADA compliance is a really, really important factor that is just so often overlooked. The guidelines state that sites must be perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. And within those categories, there are a number of different things that we need to make sure that we're hitting the mark on in order to make sure that your website is accessible to everyone. ADA compliance is really all about making sure that all of your customers have equal access to your business. And really, why would you not want that? You definitely wouldn't build a brick and mortar business that isn't accessible. So why would you build an inaccessible website? It seems obvious in hindsight, but there are a lot of different things that go into making a website accessible that just might not be so clear to everyone. Things like the way that you format and structure alt tags on your images and things. There's a lot that goes into it. I would like to believe that most web designers and web developers worth their salt know what makes a website accessible, but the reality is that I've seen way too many BizIQ clients coming over to us with websites designed by professionals that were nowhere near accessible. And that's really, really concerning. So we want to make sure that you're able to take matters into your own hands a little bit and understand what goes into making a truly accessible website. It's just bad business sense to alienate a whole percentage of the population, a whole portion of your population. There's really no reason to do that. So, aside from it being against the law and putting you at risk for lawsuits and things. So, that's why we're actually offering as one of our bonuses that we're going to talk about at the end, a free resource that's going to allow you to check your website's accessibility and a checklist that you can use to make sure that you're hitting the key points and that you're touching on all of those different elements that need to be in place on your website to make sure that it can be understood and accessed by everyone. All right, we have a little video here for you, and tell me if you think this is possibly the worst website ever. This is a couple of our very talented folks over here at BizIQ, one of our account managers, Nick, and Candice, who is our digital marketing associate over here in the marketing department. So this is the worst website ever, how Nick's terrible website killed his Google rankings.
Why?
Hey, Nick, what's going on?
Hey, Candice. I'm not on Google.
Your client's not ranking?
No, I can't find my business. I lost it.
Oh, you can't find your Google listing.
No, I'm not on Google. You're not listening.
Okay, well, first of all, let's take a deep breath. Well, what's your business name?
Sock in the drawer. I sell novelty socks, as well as sock organizational systems. Plus, I also have books and videos about socks. I love socks.
Okay, and do you have a website?
Duh, of course I have a website.
Good, I knew you'd be on it.
Yeah, I have 5 websites.
You have what?
Yeah, I have 5 websites. One for each cup.
You know that could be part of the problem.
No, that doesn't make sense. No.
Not at all.
Everyone knows more is better. More money, more books, more novelty socks. Isn't she beautiful?
Nope.
Well, I mean, I guess you don't understand art.
Nope, that's not how websites work. You only need one website, even if you have multiple locations, multiple toes, one website.
But I used keywords too.
Oh, good. Well, what are you using?
Almond rocks near me. So I think I'm good on keywords.
Almond rocks.
Yeah, almond rocks. It's Cockney rhyming slang for socks. I spent like about a year in London, and I really love Cockney rhyming slang.
Okay, well, you actually need to pick keywords that your customers are going to use. So, men's novelty socks near me.
Yeah, no, that because I like I said, I like the Cockney rhyming slang.
Right.
I think it makes sense to me.
Let's go ahead and look at one of your websites here.
Okay, yeah. Let me just pull it up and yeah, take a look. Tell me what you think. It's beautiful, right?
What am I looking?
What do you mean? This is my main site.
All right.
This is the one. This is a masterpiece.
This
This is Chopin's number 4.
really hard to navigate, and I'm pretty sure it's giving small children seizures.
This is beautiful. Like, click on that goldfish right there. I dare you to click on that goldfish.
Can I buy socks with it?
No, how did that make sense? No, no! If you click that, it goes to my other site that has a live feed with my goldfish.
Okay, well, your website is actually really hard to navigate, and I'm pretty sure the only thing it's doing for you is ranking at the bottom of page 365, making your father roll over in his grave.
It really hurts.
Did I hit a nerve?
Yeah.
Good. How about we do this? You give me 60 days, I'll get you a new site, take down all this goldfish, and we'll see where you're at. You know, get you some new leads, some good keywords, men's novelty socks, and if in 60 days you don't like the work we've done, you can go back to your almond rocks.
Okay, I guess we'll try it your way then. Hey, Candace, you gotta come look, come look.
What?
I found my...
Okay. So does that look a little bit familiar, maybe, possibly? I do promise that Nick and Candace know exactly what goes into making a great website, but they were kind enough to do that little skit for us to sort of illustrate a couple of the problems that we see from time to time when we are working with a new client who is just a little bit maybe inflexible on website design and strategy. Which brings us to mistake number 12. Design and strategy decisions on your website should be data-based. You may love that photo of your dog or your goldfish or the crazy colors, and you might feel that super niche keyword is just perfect for you. But if it doesn't resonate with your customers, you will lose traffic, which means you will lose rankings and business. I'll admit, before that video, I had no idea what Cockney rhyming slang was. And that's a little bit of an extreme example, of course, but you have to think like your customers. You have to try to put yourself in their shoes. You, as the industry expert for whatever product and service you provide, the way that you think about your industry and the things that you do in your business is probably very different than the way that your customers are actually searching for you. I ride horses, I'm an equestrian, and so an example that I like to give my clients is sometimes I've worked with trainers in the past. Specifically, I do show jumping and equitation, and I've worked with trainers in the past who want to attract more students for their riding lesson program. And so they choose to target keywords like equitation training and show jumping trainer, for example, when really, parents who are looking to enroll their kids in riding lessons are just searching something as similar as horseback riding lessons, or even something like horse riding lessons or horse lessons, or something like that. The important thing to realize is that we have tools that can tell us what kinds of keywords people are actually searching for in your business, in your industry, how many people are actually searching for those terms within any given month, really, or even any week. And it's important to be willing to test everything and being open to adjusting, even if it's not totally in line with your personal aesthetic. Again, you might love all of those colors and that color scheme, but it might be sending just the absolute wrong message to your client base. So, but at the same time, it could be working as well. So we have to test everything. We have to actually look at the data, use things like Google Analytics to tell us how people are engaging with your site and whether or not what you're doing is actually resonating with them. Okay, mistake number 11. No competitive insight. This is a really big one. Knowing what your competition is doing allows you to leverage their success and, even more importantly, possibly avoid their failures. The way that you can do this is to start by identifying your most successful competitors in your area. If you don't have any direct competitors in your area, that's great for you. You still need to be, broadening your horizons a little bit. Look nationally. Who is your biggest competitor in your country? And take a look at what they're doing. Some specific things that you want to be looking for in order to evaluate their strategy. Do they have an optimized website? Is it mobile responsive? What keywords are they targeting? When you are Googling things in your industry and they're consistently popping up, that can give you a really good idea of how they're structuring their keyword strategy. There are also tools that you can use to do this, or actually, we can do some of this for you as well. And that's something that we're going to be talking about at the end as well as part of our bonuses that we're offering. You're going to be getting a competitive analysis checklist at the end, but we're also going to give you the opportunity to actually talk to someone here at BizIQ who can break down what your competitors are actually doing and give you an overview of their keyword strategy and what they're targeting their campaigns towards. We can also see things like what your competitors are bidding for with their paid media campaigns, their PPC campaigns. You also want to look at how do they manage their online reviews? Are they responding to all of their reviews? What is the tone that they're using when they respond to those reviews? Are they friendly? Are they professional? Or are they being argumentative or aggressive? Are they active on social media? Which platforms are they leveraging? Are they using Facebook? Are they using Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn? All of these things are, information that is readily available out there. And really, it just makes sense for you to have a good understanding of what it is that your competition is doing. They may be missing opportunities that you now know because you've done that research, you can take advantage of and you can gain a foothold in that particular area. And that's what we're really looking for as we're doing this. How can you one up them? Isn't that really what we want as competitive business owners? How can you one up your competition? Can you piggyback off of their success? Can you use them as a launching pad to grow your own marketing and to grow your business's online presence? Again, at the end of this webinar, we're going to have some resources for you. And one of those things is going to be a free competitive analysis checklist, some things that you can do starting just right away, starting today, to get a sense of what your competitors are actually doing, and even some tools that you can be using to get a good sense of things like their keyword strategy and their content strategy and things of that nature, as well as the opportunity to talk to an actual marketing expert who can just go ahead and tell you all of this and lay it out for you in a nice, easy to comprehend sort of way. We're all about trying to save you a little bit of work here. So, mistake number 10, reputation and WOM. Does anyone know what WOM stands for? It stands for word of mouth. There is this perception among small business owners that um, your reputation and the growth of your business is still happening around the water cooler, that it's still really based towards, word of mouth, people talking about your business and sharing their experiences with friends and family. And that's true. But the difference is that online reviews are the new word of mouth. The internet is the new water cooler. Ignoring your online reviews is the exact same thing as ignoring your customers. We don't want that. You would never ignore a customer who came into your store angry or upset over, something that happened in their business. So why would you do that with your online reviews? And
It
in line
makes
with that,
no
you want to
sense.
consistently be trying to generate new reviews and trying to get and foster that ongoing word of mouth that again does happen on online review sites instead of around the water cooler on block parties and things like that. This should be something that you are consistently trying to do. And you want to just make sure that this is a real strong focus area. And along those same lines, you also want to make sure that you're searching review sites regularly. You want to know where to look to see, what the conversation is about your business so that you can also participate in that conversation. How great is it that, these days this word of mouth is happening online, which allows us as business owners to actually participate in that conversation and actually influence the direction that conversation goes. So That said, you want to be looking at places like Google My Business, for example. That's probably the biggest one there is in terms of aggregating online reviews. You can also take a look at Facebook. Yelp is another one. Better Business Bureau, for example. Definitely do not neglect that one. You want to make sure that you are aware of what's being said over there. And then there might be things like industry sites that are important for your particular vertical. Angie's List, for example, or even different board sites or industry organizations, certification sites, things like that. So you want to make sure that you're keeping a real close eye on this and that you're searching those regularly. And remember, when you're dealing with a review, especially a review that might be negative or difficult, you're not necessarily responding for the person who left that review. You are responding for the person or the people who are also browsing that site and are looking to find out how you treat your customers. Even if it's a very, very difficult review, a very, very angry review, respond in a cool, calm, and collected way, and show the people that are browsing that site that you take their concerns seriously and that you're willing to address them, even if it's difficult. And also make sure that you're thanking the people who leave those great reviews, those positive reviews. The more that you can address those reviews, and the more that you can respond even to the positive ones, the better perception people will have of your business. And the statistics don't lie. 86% of people would pay more for services from a company with higher ratings and reviews. 86%. That is a big deal. That is a big chunk of the population right there. But we get it. Reviews and your online reputation is a really, really difficult point for a lot of people, especially when there's high emotions involved. And that's why we're offering yet another bonus. At the end of this session, you'll get access to our free guide. This has been one of our most popular guides to date. And it is 25 review response templates. And more than just being templates, because we don't really believe in using standardized responses for things, more than templates, they're inspiration. And these are 25 review responses for all different kinds of reviews, from positive to negative to really, really, really awful, even to reviews from competition trying to scam you. These are review responses that our account managers, our client services team, who look at hundreds and hundreds of reviews on a daily basis and help their clients craft responses. These are responses that they themselves have written, and their top suggestions for how to deal with the 5 most common reviewer personas. This is a really, really helpful guide, just absolutely packed with actionable tips and tricks. And again, these response templates that you can use to craft your own response. Again, don't just use them verbatim. You want to make sure that you're providing a personalized response, but these will be incredibly helpful in pointing you in the right direction. So look for that at the end of the session, and we'll make sure that we get that out to you via email as well. All right, who's watched this movie? Does everyone know where this is from? If you build it, he will come, but only if you build a keyword strategy. This is one of my favorite movies growing up, Field of Dreams. It's still one of my favorites and I watch it all the time. But this myth of if you build it, they will come does not necessarily apply to online marketing. You need that keyword strategy, and that leads us to mistake number 9, avoiding self-promotion. I know that this seems a little bit odd because obviously marketing, it's kind of like self-promotion on its own, right? But as I said, this is a myth. If you build it, they might not actually come. Even with a great product, people are not going to find you unless you're willing to toot your own horn a little bit. You want to be visible and you want to craft a keyword strategy designed to get you found online. Now, this could be a problem for a number of different ways. A lot of people feel really uncomfortable talking about themselves. They feel like their product or their service should speak for itself. If they have great reviews online, that should be enough. Great word of mouth, that should be enough. They don't need to talk about themselves. Well, this kind of goes both ways. You know your product better than anyone. You know that service that you provide better than than anyone, and you know what makes you stand out from a possibly very crowded market. If you don't communicate that, who will? Who's going to talk about your business from that perspective other than you? No one. And On another end of this is the keyword strategy that you're using. We talked a little bit about this before, but it's important to reiterate it here. Make sure that you're using keywords that your customers would actually search. I really can't emphasize this enough because it's an issue that we see pop up very frequently. Make sure that you're getting into the heads of your targets, of your prospects, and learning what they would actually be typing into Google to find a business like yours. So, having a great keyword strategy and being willing to promote yourself, talk about your business on social media, are really, really important for getting found. And on the flip side, problem number 8 can be too much self-promotion. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. No one wants to be involved or be in a relationship with someone who feels that it's all about them. Quality content is a ranking factor. You want to make sure that you're always asking yourself, who cares? Or so what? With everything that you are writing on your website, the content that you're creating for social media, it's one thing to just, blatantly talk about yourself and, we are the best plumber in, any town, USA, so on and so forth. But unless you're providing details to back it up and tell people why they should care, then that claim means nothing. That's why when BizIQ we talk about being the highest rated small business marketing agency in the United States. If we just left it there, who would really care? What does that matter? Who actually says that we're the highest rated small business marketing agency in the United States? Just because we say it doesn't make it true. So we back it up with the facts. We talk about, where that information is coming from, and it's coming from our fantastic Google reviews, the fact that we have more great Google reviews than any other agency of our kind in the United States. When you add that to it, it all clicks. It makes sense, and it's that's the other level of information that we need to provide if we are going to be talking about ourselves. But it's important to remember that we-centered marketing doesn't sell. It just makes site visitors run for the hills. So try to provide value in everything that you do, even in something as simple as your website copy. Your site visitors and your prospects will reward you for it. Your first goal with the copy on your website or the things that you're posting on social media, or even if you're putting your own webinars out there, is to provide extreme value. If you can provide extreme value in the content that's free for everyone to consume, whether it's, again, your website copy, your webinars, or ebooks, or what have you, then imagine how people will feel about the content that they actually need to pay you for, your actual services and products. So promote yourself, but don't do it in a we-centered kind of way. Make sure that you're backing up your claims and you're providing value. Mistake number 7, forgetting about existing customers. Marketing isn't just about acquiring new customers. It's also about retaining your existing customers and encouraging repeat purchases. Always make sure that you are including conversions and upsells from your existing customers when measuring the actual impact of your marketing efforts. It has been shown through a number of different studies that retention and increasing average lifetime value of a client is the most overlooked revenue stream there is. You are absolutely missing a huge opportunity if you stop marketing to people the moment they become a customer. Even if you don't have, a product or service that is usually needed on an ongoing basis or on a subscription level or something like that, there's always an opportunity for just a little bit more. There's always an opportunity for an upsell. If you're a contractor, for example, just because you've completed a bathroom renovation for a client doesn't mean that you're going to stop talking to that customer. They may want to turn to you when they get their kitchen done. But if you're not actively putting your business and your brand in front of them, then they may just forget about you. You may go off the radar. So we want to make sure that we're continuing to market to our existing customers. And again, as I mentioned before, that we're actually calculating that or using the conversions and upsells that you're getting from existing customers to measure the impact of your marketing efforts. If you are actively marketing to existing customers, and they're hearing about you from going back to your website or your email campaigns or what have you, you want to make sure that you're correctly attributing that sale or that revenue that's being generated from that sale to your marketing efforts. So don't forget about your existing customers. They are an incredibly valuable revenue stream for your company, and you don't want to abandon them. You want to, if anything, reward them for being loyal customers and give them opportunities to work with you again. Mistake number 6, We're getting down the list here. Ignoring social media. The fact of the matter is, your prospects are spending time on social media, even if you're not. They are there. They are on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, all of those social media platforms. It doesn't make sense for you to not meet them where they are. Again, sort of the water cooler analogy. What if you could just walk up to any water cooler where they're talking about your business and get involved in that conversation? That's exactly what social media allows you to do, just like online reviews. It absolutely makes sense to meet them where they are and to spend time, in the areas where your customers are spending time, where your prospects are spending time. You want to avoid a set it and forget it mentality with social media. Think of it this way. Social media is like a party and you're the host. Okay, you wouldn't invite people over to your house and then just disappear. I mean, maybe you would if you're really an introvert. I know I've thrown some parties where I've wanted to do that. I can think of my daughter's third birthday party in particular. But you don't want to do that. You want to be a good host. You want to make sure that you are entertaining your crowd. You're offering them drinks. You're offering them snacks, and that you're present and there to socialize with them. And it's the same for social media. We don't want to just create our profiles, tell people about it, ask them to like our page, and then never post anything or just post, again, very we centered kind of content. We want to make sure that just like with your copy on your website, you're providing value and you're providing additional content for your guests, your social media followers to consume. Again, I can't say this enough. Your prospects are on social media. You should be as well. You also want to research, understand your target audience. And there are tools on Facebook that you can use to actually help you figure out what that looks like. There's an audience insights tool that you can use on Facebook that will tell you kind of the makeup, the demographic makeup of your current page followers. And for the most part, your page followers are your customers or people like your customers. So it's a really, really important tool for you to use. We have a great video that we released recently that takes kind of a deep dive into Facebook advertising and Facebook marketing. So I encourage you to watch it. It's a little bit on the longer side, but it really does go into a number of different strategies and tools that you can use to maximize the benefit of your social media marketing efforts and to really figure out who your customers are and how to market to them on social media. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. The link is going to be here in the slides for you. I will also email it out. And you can also find it over on our website, biziq.com, or on our YouTube channel. So now we are getting into the top 5, and these are the most common problems that we see of these 15 common problems. Number 5 is a big one, not tracking results. This is really a big deal. You want to make sure that you're tracking your website traffic, tracking your rankings progress, your listings, and even the foot traffic to your business. You can use a number of different tools like this, like Google Analytics, for example, tracking phone numbers, and just good old-fashioned communication with people that come into your business to figure out where they're coming from. It's really important to understand that without a tracking system in place, you are 100% wasting your marketing budget. Okay, so maybe you're getting some conversions here and there. You might not be 100% wasting your marketing budget, but without knowing where people are coming from, how do you even know where to reallocate your budget when the time comes? How can you make effective marketing decisions without complete data? You don't want to settle for vanity metrics either. Transparency with whoever is responsible for your marketing efforts. Transparency is absolutely key here. You want to make sure that you're really getting to the meat of it and that you're really understanding which of your marketing efforts are bringing the best results and which of your marketing efforts are falling flat. In my opinion, a marketing manager or a marketer in general who's really worth their salt will never be afraid to tell you that something is not working. In fact, we look forward to that kind of data because it tells us that, okay, this isn't working. So now we can look for where we can actually provide real value and where we can get real results for our clients. We don't want to settle for things like vanity metrics, like impressions, for example, which is a kind of a repeat offender in the vanity metrics space. Yes, that can be an important metric for certain campaign objectives and whatnot, but for the most part, just general eyeballs on your ads or your website doesn't necessarily mean anything. You want to look for things like your conversion rate, obviously the overall return on investment, the return on ad spend, things like cost per lead, cost per acquisition. Those are metrics that can easily be tied to your bottom line and can really help inform your decision making when it comes to time to reallocate budget to different marketing channels. So again, tracking results is huge. One of the areas that's particularly overlooked has to do with foot traffic to your business or in-person business or phone calls, for example. Yes, there are tools that can automate the tracking of conversions and whatnot on a website like Google Analytics. And yes, we can create different tracking numbers to know which different campaigns are producing phone calls. But nothing beats old-fashioned communication sometimes. And that means actually asking your customers how they found you. Anytime you have someone call in who's a new prospect or new customer, all you have to do is ask that question. Hey, how did you find us? And dig a little bit. Don't be afraid to ask, in a little bit more detail so that you can really get a sense of where they're coming from. More often than not, when someone calls you and they tell you, "Oh, I found you on the internet." Okay, but if you're running a robust online marketing campaign, you probably have a presence on social media, Google My Business. Your website is there. Maybe you're running pay-per-click ads. So ask just a little bit more. Oh, okay. Did you find us on Facebook? Did you find our website after a Google search? Don't be afraid to ask. It's just part of normal conversation. And most importantly, it's going to give you the data that you need to make decisions. We also recommend having some sort of a sheet that you can keep by your phone. So whenever someone does call in to your business, you or whoever answers the phone can ask these questions, and it could just be a simple checkbox so that you're taking a tally of how many calls you're getting, where people are citing certain campaigns and channels as the way that they found you. We're going to give you a checklist at the end as well that you can print out and keep by your phone. We also encourage you to train the people that work in your business to do this as well. This is very important. If you are a BizIQ customer, you've probably heard this countless times from your account manager. We remind you about it at least every 60 days that you should be asking how people found you. So, if you're a BizIQ customer, this is probably no surprise to you. So hopefully you're keeping on top of it, and hopefully the next time you have a follow-up with your account manager, you'll be well prepared to tell them how many conversions you got from the various sources from foot traffic or phone calls. I like to say that this is a photo of my real life. Not really, that's not me, but it is kind of what I feel like sometimes. I have two young kids, and besides being the director of marketing at BizIQ, I also run a nonprofit organization in my spare time. What spare time? I don't know what it is. But the point is trying to be a Jack or Jill of all trades, aka multitasking. This is kind of very similar to that, is mistake number 4. Does your office manager handle your marketing? Does your son or daughter manage your social media? Can they really tell you what your return on investment or your return on ad spend is? We see this a lot. We see small businesses delegating their marketing efforts, something that is responsible for helping their businesses grow, to people who maybe they know how to handle the internet, they know how to navigate the internet, but they don't actually know, how to really make it work for them or for the business. The bottom line is working with specialists saves money. Yes, you're paying for things like, website design, SEO, paid search services, Facebook management, but the difference is when you're paying somebody to do that, when you're paying the expert to do that, they can get you the return that you need. We really feel that, a professional marketing campaign should absolutely pay for itself and then some. This is especially important with things like SEO, web design, and paid search because the best practices change so frequently. It really does take someone who is invested in keeping themselves up to date on the updates to the best practices and the policies and things of that nature that impact the success of these different kinds of campaigns. There are any number of Google algorithms and algorithm updates that happen throughout the year that impact how well a website can be found on Google search engines, for example. And if someone is not up to date with those strategies and the different things that need to be done in order to keep a website in compliance, then you may be ranking on page 1 one day, and the next day you're going to fall to page 5, which is basically the equivalent of being on page 5 million, because let's face it, no one's clicking to page 5. So Just like multitasking, being a jack or Jill of all trades can rob your organization of its efficiency and truly impact the bottom line in a not so great way. It is absolutely worth it to pay the professionals to do this for you as long as you are aware of who you're using and that you have armed yourselves with the ability to determine whether or not they're actually providing a service that's valuable and whether or not you are, and possibly most importantly, getting a return for that investment. Number three, as a content marketer at heart, this one is a big deal for me. Not having a clear value proposition or special offer to work with. Promoting special offers online helps differentiate you from a crowd of competitors. It gives people an incentive to choose you over the competition. Your marketing can only be so effective if you don't understand your why statement. There's only so much you can really achieve from your marketing if you don't really understand what makes you different. So some things to ask yourself: can you sum up your product or services in one simple sentence that also explains why you are the better choice? It sounds kind of obvious, but this is actually really, really hard to do and really does require some thought. There are any number of exercises that you can find, and I will actually be emailing some out to you that will help you develop a value proposition, also called a unique selling proposition. But it could even be as simple as just developing a special offer that is so compelling that it makes people choose you over your competition. This is such an important thing. I actually, in addition to calling it a value proposition or a unique selling proposition, I like to call it the KISS statement. Keep it simple, stupid. Because so often we get kind of tied up in creating this value proposition that is very long and drawn out and complicated, but we only have a second or two to really get people's attention and have them understand what it is we do and why we're better. So that's why keeping it super simple, keep it simple, stupid, or if you don't like the word stupid, you can say keep it super simple. That's maybe a nicer way to say it. The KISS statement. If you can develop that and get it to the point where anyone can understand what it is that you do and why you're better in just a moment, then you are setting yourself up for success. And that right there is going to drive your marketing strategy because you will have a platform from which to communicate. So this is a little bit of free life and marketing advice. With every claim you make and every claim that you hear, ask yourself, so what? Says who? Why should I care? If you can't answer that question, your messaging isn't working. And we talked about this a little bit before when I gave the example of the statement that BizIQ is the highest rated small business marketing agency in the country. You need to be able to back up those statements, and you need to be able to give people a reason to care. So if you can't answer those questions, your messaging isn't working. And if a company that you are investigating or looking into can't answer those questions or doesn't answer those questions, then you want to run far away. Mistake number two, we are almost to the end of this list, and I do have some questions coming in, so we're going to address those at the end. But mistake number two, treating marketing like an expense, not an investment. This is something that we see all the time as well. Again, this is part of our top 5 of the 15 most common marketing mistakes that we experience. You've probably heard this quote before. If you spent any time on our blog or on our email list, you've probably heard me say it, or at least you've seen me write it. A man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. This is a famous quote from Henry Ford, and it is absolutely true. As I mentioned before, marketing should pay for itself and then some. It is an investment. Don't treat it like an expense that can just be written off, that can be just done away with if things are a little bit tight. Marketing agencies and consultants worth their salt will provide clear and transparent reporting, and they'll work to help you understand the way your campaigns correspond to conversion so that you know that you are getting a return for what you're paying. And bonus, marketing is tax deductible. This is a thing that a lot of people don't actually realize. And if you're a BizIQ customer, we provide all the documentation that you need to take to your tax professional and make sure that you're getting the biggest deduction that you can for your marketing expenses. But beyond just understanding that marketing is an investment, not an expense, in order to really understand that, in order to really be able to track how that's working for you, you need to know how to calculate your ROI. There are a number of different ways that you can do that. I will be sending this out in an email as well. And of course, you're going to have access to these slides at the end as well. But you need to start by establishing your marketing budget. Just like any investment that you're making, you need to have a budget for it and set clear goals so that you can reevaluate your budget reallocation regularly. Without having that budget or an idea of what you want to accomplish in a certain period of time, it'll be really hard to figure out if it actually is working. You're just going to go based off of your gut feeling, and that's not always the best way to make business decisions. And then after that, you want to work with your tax professional come tax season to determine what portion of your marketing spend is tax deductible. We have a whole resource over on our website that you can turn to kind of outline some of this and what the different criteria are for marketing expenses being tax deductible. But it's probably a lot more of your marketing expense than you realize. And that can make a real big difference, especially in a small business. Again, as I mentioned, if you're a BizIQ customer, check with your account manager. We provide all of the documentation that you need come tax season. So we are happy to point you in the right direction there and make sure that you have what you need to get the the biggest deduction that you possibly can. And we've done it. We are at reason number 1. Does anyone want to guess what it is? Reason number 1, marketing mistake number 1, believing that marketing is a one and done event. Marketing is a journey, not a destination. And this applies to just about every type of marketing, every marketing channel that there is. You cannot, just like we talked about with social media, you cannot just set it and forget it. And you cannot just stop marketing once you've achieved a certain level of rankings or goal completions. It requires ongoing optimization, adjustment, and management in order for campaigns to perform at their best. Getting a search engine results page or SERP ranking does not mean that you are going to keep that ranking. You must adjust to algorithm changes and any other number of changes that can occur with Google or Bing or any of the search engines, and keep your website and your online presence in compliance. Believe me, they do change pretty regularly. There's the famous story of Mobilegeddon that happened a few years ago when Google all of a sudden changed to basically require that websites be responsive on mobile devices, meaning that it is visible and performs well on mobile devices in addition to being, just on desktop. Previously, people would just have desktop websites, and sometimes they had a separate, more limited version of their website that was for a mobile phone. Well, when that happened and websites were not responsive for mobile, all of a sudden, overnight, people lost, pages and pages of search rankings, and it actually destroyed businesses. There were lawsuits involved. It was a mess. A lot of marketing agencies actually went under because they were not prepared for those algorithm changes. It was really a dark time in the marketing world. Fortunately, not for BizIQ. We've been making responsive pages, responsive websites for years and years. So we were ahead of the game there, and we do our best to stay ahead of those updates as well. But again, you need to be able to respond to these kinds of changes, and you can respond quickly and avoid some of these ranking losses that you might experience. So it's something that's going to require an ongoing effort. Same thing goes with your citations, these online business directory listings that are so important for maintaining the consistency of your information on the internet. Once they're updated, they still might occasionally revert to have incomplete information or inconsistent information, and they can even spawn new citations. It's a crazy process. It sounds really strange, but it does happen, and you need to have an eye out for those sorts of things so that you can clean them up and maintain the integrity of your data online. This is a huge thing that goes into determining how well your business can rank in search engines. So, things like, your website, SEO, and citations are just two of many areas that need to be consistently maintained and updated in order to get the most out of it. So, marketing is a journey, not a destination. It is not a one and done event. It's something that should be an ongoing part of your business. If you are not marketing, you're not growing. And marketing can and should get more efficient over time as data is collected. The more information we have over how your marketing is performing allows us to adjust and create an even more efficient campaign moving forward. So yes, it's an investment. It's something that you need to, invest some money into, but it can and should be more efficient and more cost effective over time. So as I mentioned, all 15 of these common marketing mistakes somehow relate to one of the 5 pillars of great local marketing as we define it here at BizIQ. Those 5 pillars are having an optimized local website. Having clean directory listings, these are also called citations, and they're incredibly important for getting found online. The quality of your content, the content creation process, is a major component of your local marketing and your online presence. Reputation management, managing those online reviews and that online word of mouth. And then also reporting and ongoing updates, that maintenance and analysis of your online marketing campaign. All of these make up a great and complete local marketing campaign, and all of these mistakes somehow correlate to each and every one of these. And it is time for our freebies and bonuses. Thank you so much to those of you who stuck around until the very end. I know we threw a lot of information at you, and really we could go on and on and on because there's really so much more to cover. And there's so much more detail that I would like to go into with you, and things that I think it's really important for you to know and understand about online marketing. We only have a certain amount of time today, and we're probably a little bit over our time already, so I'm going to go ahead and just push through to the end here. You will find a lot of additional information in all of these different freebies and bonuses that we are going to offer you today. We are starting with a marketing playbook. This is going to be an ebook, a PDF format that's going to discuss all of these 15 marketing mistakes in depth. You're going to get a really great summary of all the information that we went over today. And this book can really be used as a reference to guide your marketing decision making and just ensure that you're not missing the mark. So this will be available to you. I will be sending this out via email as well. You can also opt in to receive it when we discuss our final offer here on this webinar. As I mentioned before, we're also going to offer a website accessibility checklist. We want to make sure that you're covered on the basics when it comes to ADA compliance on your website. If you are a BizIQ customer, you do not have to worry about this. We take care of all of this for you, but it's still a great checklist for you to have so that you can educate yourself. And when your friends who are business owners ask you, what's important in an online marketing campaign, you're prepared with information, and you can let them know, hey, you need to be concerned about the fact that your website may or may not be ADA compliant, because that you are at risk and you're also alienating a portion of the population if your website is not compliant. We're also going to provide that lead tracking template that we talked about. This is a great thing to print out and have by your phone. You want to make sure that your team knows where your customers are coming from and how to ask them, how to have that conversation with them so you know what's actually working in your online marketing. And we're also going to have that review response guide. Again, this is one of our most popular guides. These are 25 review response inspiration templates for every kind of review, good, bad, and really, really ugly. This is an awesome guide that anyone who's downloaded it so far, we get so much feedback about this that it's incredibly helpful for managing those online reviews. And again, those responses are all written by our amazing account managers who work with hundreds and hundreds of small business owners every single day. Once again, if you're a BizIQ customer, I know there's a number of you joining us today. We take care of this for you. You can also find all of these review responses in your client back office area, right in that section where you're able to respond to your reviews right from that platform. And then, of course, if you ever have a really challenging review, your account manager is happy to work with you to craft a custom response and respond on your behalf. For the rest of you who don't have that service, we certainly hope you'll come on board someday. But in the meantime, this guide is here to help you. And finally, we want to offer you a no-cost marketing analysis with a local expert. This is an awesome opportunity to take some time to talk to someone who is in the trenches of helping small businesses build their marketing campaigns day in and day out. This is totally no obligation. It is no pressure. This is just an opportunity for you to get your questions answered and to get some really great advice from someone who's helped hundreds of small businesses build these great marketing campaigns and optimize these marketing campaigns. These people know a ton about online marketing, and they are standing by to help you. And so I'd invite you to follow the link and click the button that you're going to see pop up on your screen here to go ahead and take advantage of that offer and choose a time that works for you, and let's get on a quick call and see how we can help you dial in your marketing, whether or not you become a customer with us. All of that aside, we have a passion for small businesses, and we want to make sure that we are here for you to answer any questions that you have. This is also going to include a competitive analysis so we can give you a breakdown of what your competition is doing online. So be sure to let us know in that form that you fill out who your main competitors are and who you really want to kind of knock off of that top ranking spot on Google. Tell us about your goals, tell us what you want to accomplish, and we will help you build a plan to get there. Again, whether or not you implement that plan with us here at BizIQ, we certainly hope you do. But if you don't, at least you'll be armed with some great information. So please take advantage of that. There are only a certain number of spots available. This is based off of a calendar system that will book a time directly with one of our awesome digital marketing consultants. And they only have so many spots available each week. So please do jump on that just as soon as you can. And one other word that this is unfortunately only available for those of you joining us from the United States and Canada. We do only work with small businesses in the United States and Canada. But if you happen to be abroad, the rest of the information that we have in those awesome guides is going to be great for you. So we have you covered there, and please also reach out to me via email with any questions that you might have. Again, that's lexi@biziq.com. But if you're in the US and Canada, please take advantage of this offer. It is a really, really great opportunity to just pick the brains of some marketing experts who just love talking to small business owners. So that is it for today. Thank you all for joining us. We did go a little bit over time here. I hope you found this helpful. And once again, this webinar will be available in a recording so that you can reference it again at any time. Please reach out if any questions, and we are looking forward to talking to you.